Hi guys, so it's another day. This should be day 6 or thereabout of being in Ghana. Day 6 or 7 of being in Ghana. So for the past few days, the women we came with have been on retreat, silent retreat, and then they ended their retreat last night. So today the fun and sightseeing and excursion begins. So today we begin at the Elmina Castle here in Cape Coast. So this is the part 2 of my Ghana vlog. I can't put everything into one video because it will be too long, so ensure you go watch the part 1 and then come back here because you're going to enjoy everything, every step of the way. I'm going to show you every place we visit. So see you and let's go.
Yes, history adds that the Portuguese and the Berbers, they were the initial trading partners. And if I say the Berbers, I'm talking about the native or the indigenous North African inhabitants. So in simple way, initially the Portuguese were out there with the so they corrupted Elmina to Elmina. Today, this town is widely known and also called Elmina. But then, before the arrival of the Portuguese in 1471, this town was called inexhaustible water. Water that does not finish. In my local language, we say anom and san. That if you drink it, it does not get finished. So that's sometimes months before they were being transported. And they were transported across the Atlantic Ocean, hence the name Transatlantic Slave Trade. In fact, it lasted for about 360 to 400 years. And I said this somewhere there that it wasn't only the Portuguese and the Spaniards who did the transatlantic. Dutch were involved. And this castle was later captured from the Portuguese by the Dutch on 29th August 1637. They repaired all the destroyed parts, they opened the dungeons, they also traded in slaves here. Now when the transatlantic slave trade ended, Dutch sold this castle to the British. That was in 1872. And that does not suggest that British were not involved. They did. They were actively involved in the transatlantic. In fact, they did it in Cape Coast Castle. But then when they came here, they used this castle as a sub-administrative center. Now in the World War II, that is 1939 to 45, they brought men from English-speaking West Africa countries. They trained those men here. They sent some of them to India. Others were sent to Burma to fight for them. That group was called Royal West African Frontier Force. And 3 years after the Second World War, that is 1948, British converted this castle into police training school. And in the year 1957, that is 68 years ago, the then Gold Coast and now Ghana had independence and we took over from the British. So from 1432 to today it is 543 years. That's the age of this castle. Like I said, the oldest and so the largest castle in Africa south of the Sahara. This is just a brief history about this. Any questions? Okay, so it's a walking tour, so please come with me. Now this is the original floor, and the captives were made to sleep on the floor. Another thing, they were brought from different tribes, so they were not able to communicate. Yes, there was a communication barrier. Don't forget, they were not given anything to sleep on, so they slept on the floor. I think I've said this one already. Also, they sometimes put receptacles or containers at the corners for them to defecate in them. But in most cases, settings were not provided. So they left everything on the floor. And wherever that they captured or bought them, they came on foot. They walked to the coast. So they had to even walk for days to the coast. They had to climb mountains, cross rivers, they passed through thick forests, and any other domestic activities. That did not use this reservoir when they came, because they thought the bodies might have poison. But no, researchers put that the reservoir was not. Now, after the rape, they brought her back to be with the other captives. And another school of thought says, whoever raped by the governor was not made to join the other captives. No, she was separated and kept in another room, so that they can't break down the information to the others. Just to keep it secret. So that if the person becomes pregnant, they know that, okay, fine, this particular person. And in fact, some of the captives became pregnant. And for that, when the ships came, they were sent to the town. They were sent to the town to stay there to give birth. They were not meant to stay here so that they would still bring the information to those who were brought here. They stayed in the town to give birth, and when the children grew up, they brought them back to the castle for schooling. They were kept in this dungeon for 12 hours for them to have the experience of the good. Yes. So in simple words, they reenacted it and redressed them with these clothes and we changed them to fed them. The theme of that exhibition is the return of the slaves 12 hours in the dungeon. That's how that exhibition was themed. The return of the slaves 12 hours in the dungeon. Now, of course, whatever happened here, yes, it's in one of the books. Whatever went here, how they were able to cope in that situation, and also the experience that yes, after the exhibition, they told us their experience. And it wasn't positive at all. And I said, oh, just 12 hours? What about our ancestors who spent 1 month before being transported? What about our ancestors who dedicated or had an immensity? It was then that I realized, no. It sounds like something which did not happen, but it is true that this thing happened. It's happened. Or it went against our ancestors. It happened to our ancestors, therefore it happened to us. Iron bars. The iron bars were getting rusty because of the sea breeze, that's why you have the wooden bars. So here we have some of the original iron bars. They were placed vertically. And the red bricks were imported by the Portuguese, and the yellow bricks imported by the Dutch. And here again that we are here, let me seize this opportunity to also tell you that this beam has not been changed. It's been here for quite a long time, about 350 years and over. And this one, these two beams have not been changed. We have some other beams that, we have some of them, some more, but in this dungeon we have these two beams being original. Tets. That is LJ by Tets. No, Governor Tets was the last Director General of West Indies Company, and that company came from Zealand, which is one of the provinces in the Netherlands. Governor Tets arrived here on 16th January 1758 and died 12th March the same year at the age of 41. This was where he was buried. And at that time, there was a pastor who was then residing here. The pastor was called A. Andres. He wrote this portion to serve as a tribute about Governor Pett. And he said Governor Pett was a good man, honest, hard-working, and also God-fearing. The drawbridge to prevent easy access to the castle. That was for defense. That's a navigation compass. Ship captains used it as a reference for adjusting their navigation. And they also used it. Kitchen. When the Dutch came, they abandoned that one and built this one. So this was the Dutch Governor's kitchen. And look at something here. Would make his choice from the woman. And the selected captive was taken from the private access. And she came through here.
This thing is under this.
Go back to place.
That was where we saw downstairs.
Yes.
We saw that.
The chosen.
Yes.
The chosen one will come in.
So from here to the governor's quarters.
It's torture.
Apart from the bedroom, he had 2 living rooms here. Additional rooms for the governor, the door to the washroom. All for one person. And on the second floor, the same stretch, the deputy governor also had bedroom, living rooms, washroom, just like this. So the first floor rooms were the residences for the soldiers, the traders, and the missionaries. The ground floor rooms became dungeons for the captives. This is the last point. Served as a trading post, and the Dutch captured it from the Portuguese in 1607. They later sold it to the British in 1872. final in Ghana 1857, Ghana had independence from the British. Now, from 1488 is 543 years. This is the oldest, belongs to the largest castle in Africa, south of the Sahara. That is in the tropical Africa. It is also the oldest castle in the world. That is in terms of transatlantic. The next page is saying that this history is not being told to pass judgment. This history is not told for one to point accusing fingers and afraid. It's not to open old wounds. It is being told to bring all of us together to reflect on the past to build a better future. You know, in simple words, it's being told to serve as education for us to reflect on the past to build a better future. As the saying goes, united stand
Divided before.
My name is Nwile. Please, good afternoon, and this is the end of the talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Medasi. Hi guys, so updates. We're done at the castle. We went to one lunch place, but they did not have beef, which is what most of the ladies wanted because we have been eating a lot of fish since we arrived. Cape Coast is like the water side of Ghana, so there's a lot of fish here. And you know, now we're at another restaurant where they have fish, and I'm just taking a bathroom break, so I go back and get to my order. I had ordered Sex on the Beach for drinks, but they don't have Sex on the Beach. I mean, you should have seen the way these ladies like their faces lit up when I said the name. They're like, what's a name? Anyway, so I'm taking something. I think it's like jogger milk, Baileys, and milk and something else. So I hope I don't get drunk today, but who cares? Anyway, I guess I'm going to make this a day in my life because it's a lot of, there are so many videos and I couldn't even capture everything that the tour guide said because at some point my phone became very hot. The weather outside here, look at the sun. This is literally 30 degrees plus, I think 31 or 32 degrees right now. So my phone was so hot under the sun, it couldn't, I don't know what's wrong with my phone. If it's very hot, it just goes off on its own, not off. It shuts down most of my apps. So anyway, I was going to capture some. So enjoy a day in my life in Cape Coast. Hey. Bye. Mwah.